So I was working with a client the other day, and this guy, very well composed, very put together. Like you wouldn't have saw this coming. And we were working on him having a conversation with his wife about taking responsibility for his past actions, behaviors, the things that really caused his marriage to be where it was at, which was they were separated. It was a pretty bad spot. So he was really struggling, right? It was very intellectual. There was no real emotion behind it. And it was just really falling flat when we were talking about it and practicing it. So I was like, you know what? This is what I want you to do. Go set a timer for 20 minutes and just do some stream of consciousness journaling, which, if you don't know, is just where you put your pen on paper, you write without stopping, and it allows you to access from your heart and your emotions versus like really getting caught intellectual, which for guys who are very heady, that's a very good exercise. So we were doing that. And he came back to me like a day or two later. And he's like, well, this is what came up. Is this what I should be sharing? And I was like, well, show me. What was it? And it was all anger. It was all things that she had done, problems, reasons why, and just all this stuff. I was like, oh, that's the problem. Right. So you actually have a lot of resentment towards your wife. And he was shocked by this because he didn't think he had any. He didn't realize all these emotions were what were bubbling up under the scene. So that's what I want to talk to you about in today's video. I want to talk to you about resentment because resentment is one of those things where it is one of the biggest sabotages that I see happening for men trying to save their marriage. And it's because resentment is like this toxic coating that covers every interaction that you have. And when you don't realize it's there and you don't remove it, no matter what kind of improvements you're trying to make in communication, no matter how non-reactive or not being triggered you try to do, all of it becomes harder. You could argue impossible. Right, and I'll talk to you why in a little bit with resentment, why it just doesn't happen. So it's really important that you tackle a resentment. So let's talk about where resentment comes from. And the most simple way to look at it is that resentment is simply just repressed anger. Just repressed anger is all resentment really is. Now, the thing about anger is a secondary emotion. And what I mean when I say that is anger just doesn't come out of the blue. Like it doesn't ever exist on its own. Anger is usually a reaction to a different emotion, right? So when you're angry about something, and that thing you're angry about is a different emotion, something else that happened. So if your wife is blocking you from seeing your kids, that may be angry about it, but reality, if you look underneath that, it's going to be something else. And typically it's sadness or hurt. Underneath anger is almost always sadness and hurt, right? So in that situation, you're sad by not being able to see your kids. You're hurt because you thought she cared and she wanted you. You thought she was good. You thought she believed you were a good father. All those types of things, sadness and hurt that causes you to get angry. So really, resentment is just unexpressed hurt. And the way you deal with resentment is you express it. But not just to anyone, not just your therapist, not just your friends. You need to express it to the person who hurt you. Express it to the person who hurt you. That's how you deal with resentment at its core. And when you resolve this resentment, what ends up happening is you're naturally going to be less triggered. You're naturally going to be able to create emotional safety because resentment, that anger, is an attacking energy. So whether you realize it or not, all of your communications are being coded in this, and your wife can feel it, which causes her to have to defend from that energy. So it's very important that we clean up that energy, that anger, so that the communication, your true intentions, can start shining through. So your wife opens up, she feels safe. All these things get out of the way. So this is incredibly important. So I'll give you a quick example from my past, and I'm a recovering nice guy. Hey, I was bad, anxious attachment style, nice guy. Like that was me all day. Poster child, living encyclopedia. You see my face. All right. And that meant I suppressed all my anger. Like it happened, I suppressed it. You asked me, I wouldn't even thought I was angry. So the woman I was seeing at that time was, I didn't know about any of this stuff. So we had a lot of issues in it. There's a lot of unresolved things. My communication was trash, lots of blame, criticism, all those types of things. And it's amazing we actually lasted as long as we did. But I remember one day we were going for a hike, and I just felt like she was criticizing me and criticizing me and criticizing me. And I just exploded. I started yelling, shouting for like a minute, which for me is huge because I never expressed these kind of emotions. But for like a minute, I just lost it. Right? Obviously, I didn't attack her or anything like that, but I just lost it. I was yelling, shouting, screaming, all these kind of things. And that was the resentment building, right? The resentment got to a breaking point and exploded. And if you find yourselves in a cycle where maybe every couple weeks, month, years, like you have that, chances are resentment's happening here. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of that. All right. So what we need to talk about is, how do you address resentment? And the way you address it is to release it, right? You have to release your resentment. And here's the thing, most guys instantly want to focus on their wife. They're like, oh, well, she has all the resentment. She's the one. I've let mine go. I compartmentalize it. I am not holding on to it. I call BS, because I have yet to meet a client who doesn't do this. I have yet to meet a client who doesn't do this, who doesn't have some level of resentment. Now, if it's not towards their wife, it's towards themselves. So you can have resentment either way. They're both equally as damaging, right? When it's towards yourself, you tend to withdraw. When it's towards her, you tend to be more aggressive, right? So keep in mind, you probably have it. And there's a spectrum here. It's not like everybody has 100% of it, right? But I guarantee you, this is something that by cleaning up will make everything else easier for you. Okay. Hey guys, so I am trying a new system here with sharing my iPad and whatnot, and it glitched at this point in the video, so I lost while I was writing. So the rest of this video is just going to be me talking and you'll see writing, but it should be pretty straightforward and direct. So just wanted to pop in for a second, let you know what to expect for the rest of it. And my apologies as I'm working this out, and it'll get better next time. All right, take care. So like what I was saying, you want to start with yourself, right? And that means any resentment you have towards your wife, and then any resentment you have towards yourself for things that you shouldn't have done, mistakes you made in the past, things like that. And then any key third parties, right? So if you're dealing with emotional affairs, you're dealing with family members, you're dealing with all her divorced friends and all those kind of things, any like major third parties, you want to clean that up too, because otherwise what you're going to do is get hyper focused on them, make them a problem, and that's going to create its own issues. So these are the big three that you want to work on. And I'll tell you, my clients who deal with this, like it's a night and day difference in their interactions and their behaviors, like night and day. So this is worth doing. So those are the focusing targets for your resentment. Now let's talk about, how do you actually release it? And what I'm going to give you is my resentment release process in the links below. So the releasing process, and it's going to be a step-by-step, this guided journey. I'll give you all the details, the background on how it came about, all that inside the training, completely free. Because this is really the starting point for anybody. You cannot fix your marriage by holding on to this. So like there's one thing I can give you that will make everything else easier. It's this. So that's what I'm giving to you. Uh the releasing piece. So you can go through the training and get the information there. It's been used by hundreds of men. And what I want you to do is focus on those three. First, clear the resentment with your wife, clear any resentment with yourself, and then clear any resentment with any third parties. So like I said, it goes your wife, you, and then third parties. From there, and really what you should be aiming for actually is about 3 times per day for 1 week. You do that, and you should be pretty much done with this for now. Now, the big thing is this only works on past, not future. So this will get you clean up to right now. Now, if you want to make sure no new anger, so new hurts come, that's where all the other work comes in. That's where the communication, the trigger work, the leadership, all those types of things. That's how you stop new hurts from coming in. But that doesn't matter if you're still drowning in the old stuff. So first clear out the past, and then you can deal with making sure no future hurts come. That's a very, very important thing here. Okay. So what I want you to do is grab the link below, go get the resentment release process. I don't even think I have an email opt-in for it, to be honest. Maybe I'll put one on there. I don't know. There's not one on there now. So go ahead and do that. Use it, like I said, 3 times a day for about a week. Start with your wife, then move to yourself, then move to any key third parties. And I guarantee you, if you do this and you take it seriously, you will feel remarkably different on the other side of this. So go ahead and grab that. The link should be below wherever I'm doing with this. If you want a plan on what to do after the resentment is done, there's another free course that I'll link down below on what to do when your wife is like shut down and talking about leaving. That's going to be there. And then if you're just tired of trying to figure this out yourself, looking at all the YouTube videos, Instagram reels, all that kind of stuff, and you just like to get somebody to help support you with this, there would be another link below. You can reach out for help or keep doing what you're doing. Doesn't matter. All right. Cool. So that's this video. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.